Good evening, everybody. Welcome to today's Policy Manthan discussion. As we all know that recently the economic survey document was out, and we all know the importance of economic survey document. As we know that budget itself is important, but economic survey is also a very important part for us as individuals to understand the status of economy, the status of different aspects. For example, the status of the education and different data trends with respect to education that are currently in the country. So, moving forward, as we all know that we're going to be discussing the sixth chapter of the economic survey document. So, moving forward, I would request all of you to please write down your names along with the topic that you want to be speaking today. Yes, anybody else? Okay, so I think I'll start up with Swarali. So as we all know that the government a few years ago brought in the aspirational district program, wherein initially they targeted 112 most backward districts of our country from almost 28 states and the union territories, but currently the number has been increased further. So we will hear more about the aspirational district program from Swarali. Yeah, Swarali, you may go forward.
Yes, so the aspirational district program was launched by the government of India in 2018, and currently, as you said, there were first 112 districts involved, but now there are 117 districts. So the program aims to increase the living standards of people and have an inclusive growth. So under this program, the backward districts were selected. A few backward districts from all the states were selected, and there was a healthy competition between them, where the districts would be aspiring to have compete with the best districts in their state, and slowly will have to ingrain the qualities of that district. Now, the other sectors, the sectors in which this program was working, was health and education, health and nutrition. Sorry, the second was education. Third was agriculture and water resources, and then fourth one was basic infrastructure, and the last one was skill development and financial inclusion. Thus, the program had a inclusive inclusion of like various sectors in it, and it worked on broad contours of three C's, that are convergence, that the central and state schemes have converged for a better coordination. Also, there was collaboration between the central officers, the state officers, and the district collectors, so that the work was collaborated and effectively maintained. And also, there was a healthy competition based on mass movements between inter-districts and also interstate. So, following this program, which was launched in 2018, it was supposed to be done till 2022. So, in this report, we have seen the achievements this program has done till now. So, the many aspirational districts have surpassed the state average. Like the state average was there, it has indicators like health and nutrition have surpassed the state average also. And it is also noticed that aspirational districts have performed better than the non-aspirational districts in indicators like financial inclusion. Like the people in aspirational districts have more access to bank accounts, are more involved in government insurance schemes. And the last achievement of this would be in education sector, that the 46 districts in this aspirational district programs have progressed to 34%, and 29 districts have progressed to 49% in the critical indicators. These critical indicators include pupil teacher ratio, drinking water, a girls toilet in the schools, and other achievements also. But this district program is appreciated by UNDP also. It has said that this program has observed the sectoral growth and improvement in governance and administration, as well as aspirational district program is also appreciated as it resulted in reducing the inter as well as intrastate disparities. So we'll just look into the few advantages of this program. That is like,
Swarali, sorry to interrupt, but in the lack of time, we really have very little time today,
Okay.
so we would
Yeah,
be
I'll
just
just cover
moving
up in
forward.
1 minute. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
all
just
right.
cover them in 1 minute. Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, it has taken a grassroots level approach, bottom to up approach, as well as it has a targeted initiative which will empower the vulnerable communities. And now Niti Aayog has given a basic template for all districts, but then since other districts have various problems, they can be customized according to each district. And UNDP has suggested that programs like this can be applied to other countries as well, with where there are regional disparities in development. And also ADP is a good ADP sets a template for good governance, as real time data is displayed on the Niti Aayog's dashboard, so it creates transparency and accountability. But the challenges for this program is that it has insufficient funds, and human resources and technical capacities of the district are less. There is also lack of coordination, as multiple ministries are working. Now Niti Aayog is working on 27 districts, and there are 12 other ministries which are working on the other districts, so it creates a lack of coordination. Then the delta ranking system which is there, it focuses more on the quantity than the quality, and the quality of education which is provided in the district aspirational district programs, it is dismal, and it is not very up to the par, and it has also been suggested by the ASER report. So concluding, I'll just like to give a few way forwards, that a few financial autonomy should be given to local governments, as well as independent surveys would be helpful more. And districts internal capacity can be improved, like fulfilling the vacancies in the districts, as well as promoting the culture of data use in the district level itself. And with taking inspiration from the ADP, the government has recently launched at aspirational block programs, which will, in the similar manner, help backward blocks to develop. And so it has choose 500.
Farali, I'm
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt again, but we'll just have to close
yeah.
it. Yeah.
So yeah, that was the end. That aspirational block program is launched by the government recently.
Yeah, thank you so much. I understand, like all of you are very interested in the economic survey and the points written down in the economic survey. So no problem. We'll have the session again, maybe next week or so. But yeah, today we are really short of time. So thank you so much again for like your such detailed, and I'm sorry to cut you short, but yeah. Now moving forward, maybe we can hear from Pankaj some important highlights of the economic survey. Just very short, important highlights from Pankaj.
Yeah. I'll discuss about some important headlight of economic survey. So, talking about like the first headlight, like in that economic survey, there was a thing that we have surpassed the COVID-19 pandemic, and we are heading towards a very strong economic growth. So we have almost, I mean to say, surpassed the pandemic. So yeah, we are in a growth trajectory. The second thing is that talking about the banking sector in the economic survey, we have seen that there is a credit boom in 2005 and 2012, and after that, due to the high lending which had taken place during the 2005 and 12, we have seen the NPA crisis in 2015, and in 2019 there is a lot of banking crisis. We have seen that there is an INFS crisis, and like we have seen also we have heard about the Yes Bank crisis. So due to which what happened, our NPA had increased during that time. So, but if we are talking about a 2022, so we are seeing that there is a the rate of the NPA had decreased a lot. So the survey talks about that we have somehow control our NPA ratio, and we are in a good trajectory towards the talking about banking sector. We are in a good trajectory. So yeah, so and the survey also talk about some of the reforms the central government had done, the reform in terms of financial inclusion. So like it's a financial inclusion. So what are the important term in that? Like we have implemented Aadhaar, we have implemented Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, we have implemented National Pension Scheme. So in order to increase the financial inclusion, talking about the banking reform, so we had implemented a lot of resolutions. Like in banking reform, we have seen that IBC, that is Insolvency Bankruptcy Code, and other than that, at 2019, we have increased the allocation for it. Like we have the government had recapitalized the bank because there was an NPA crisis, which I had already talked about it, and we had also seen the merger and privatization. So these are the sectors banking reform the government had taken place in. Other than that, talking about a digital public good, so UPI transaction, you are seeing that we people are using the digit like UPI, so the transaction records are increasing day by day. So yeah, so UPI transaction are there, DigiLocker we are using it, eKYC is there. Okay, and in the health sector, talking about it, so we are implementing a Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and National Health Mission reforms. The government had implemented it, and we are in a very a good way in that sector as well. Talking about the ease of living, so in ease of living, like the government had taken a lot of initiative over the past few years. For instance, Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, the government had implemented that scheme. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Jal Jeevan Mission. These are the initiatives the government had taken in order to ease the living of the people. And yeah, at the end, I'll say that I'll talk about the GDP growth projection, which the economic survey had talked about it. So the growth projection of GDP is something like 6 to 6.8. But like as per the chief economic advisor, Vinod Anant Nagreswaran, I think that's the name. So yeah, so according to him, I think the rate would be something like 6.5 to 6.8%. But what is the criticism of the economists? Like why the economist is saying that that rate is not that much good? It's because of the base effect. Because we have seen that in 2019 and 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and due to which our economy growth rate had decreased a lot at that time. And now we are seeing the 6.8%. It's just a base effect. You know, if you compare it to the financial year 19 and 20, our growth rate, if you compare at that basis, the rate would be 2 to 3%. So the figure is somehow misleading, I mean to say that. So according to them, it is not at that much rate. So yeah, I think I am done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pankaj. I really appreciate you just cutting your speech short. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Moving forward, now I would like to call upon Rimsha. She's going to be talking about the education sector and basically the scenarios with respect to the education sector in the light of the economic survey.
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to throw light on the expenditure. So the budgetary allocation for education as a percentage of total expenditure has dropped over the past 7 years from 10.4% to 9.5%. As a share of total GDP, the budgetary allocation for education saw only a minimal gain of 0.1 percentage point from 2.8% to 2.9% during the same 7-year period. COVID-19 has also worsened the dropout rates. Those school dropout rate have improved since 2013 to 14, but there has been some reversal of gains since COVID-19. In 2019 to 2020, the dropout rate in primary school was 1.5%, which fell to 0.8 in 2020 to 2021, but rose back to 1.5% in 2021 to 2022. However, that is significantly better than the 4.7% dropout rate in 2013 to 2014. And in the secondary classes, however, the situation has steadily improved, with the dropout rate falling from the 16.1% in 2019-2020 to 14% in the following year and 12.6% last year. Coming to number of schools between 2013 to 2014 and 2021 to 2022, the total number of schools declined from 15.2 lakh to 14.9 lakh, though the number of secondary and senior secondary schools rose. Next, talking about the higher education enrollment the total enrollment in higher education has increased to nearly 4.1 crore in the financial year 2020 to 2021 from 3.9 crore in 2019 to 20. Since 2014 to 15, there has been an increase of around 72 lakhs or 21% in the enrollment. The distance education has also grown at a similar rate of 20% in 2021 to 2022. There has been a growth of 7% over the previous year. And number of higher education institution has also increased. Like the total number of IITs has rose from 16 to 23 between 2014 and 2022, and IIMs increased from 13 to 20. Now, coming to an end, the assessment found a significant improvement in terms of fundamental school amendments, including restrooms, drinking water, hand washing stations, and digitalization. For instance, the percentage of schools with internet access climbed from 24.5% in 2020 to 2021 to 13.9% in 2021 to 2022. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rimsha, for just bringing in important points. I really appreciate you guys just shortening your speeches. Maybe sometime else we'll have like again session for a longer duration. So now moving forward, I would like to call upon our last speaker, Chandrika. So Chandrika is going to be talking about the quality and affordable health of all and certain way forward. So yeah, Chandrika, please go forward. Yes, you're audible, Chandrika.
Yes. So I'll be talking about quality and affordable health for all and some way forward. So first thing, health expenditure includes medical and public health, family welfare, water supply, and sanitation. So talking about expenditure, so there are three categories: expenditure in lakh crore, expenditure as percent of GDP, and expenditure as percent of total expenditure. So if we look at the three social service aspect, that is education, others, and health. Health has minimum budgetary allocations as 2.1% of GDP and 6.9% of total expenditure. But it is said that, I think it is a contradiction, that today the Indian health care network is amongst the largest in the world. So there are so many initiatives has been taken by government from 2014. There are improvements in health related indicators like maternal mortality rate, infant mortality rate, neonatal mortality rate, and early 5 mortality rate. So lack of time, I'll be forwarding to way forward. So first thing is there should be quantum increase in budget allocation. Second thing is that it is important to expedite steps beyond infrastructural interventions to increase water, sanitation, nutrition, and healthy lifestyle. Then I think from my side, this is my suggestion, personal suggestion. I think it is very important in all the medical institutions, education should be given social service oriented and not kind of any business oriented approach. Like more and more surveys, camps should be organized in rural areas, manual scavenging areas, northeastern side areas while studying. So that
Just a moment, Chandrika. There is some disturbance. Let me just fix it. Yes. Please, yeah.
yes. Yeah. So I was talking about medical education institution. Education should be given social service oriented and not kind of any business oriented approach. More and more surveys camps should be organized in rural manual scavenging or northeastern areas while studying, especially for medical students, so that they can understand the grassroots level condition, and it will help to increase the value of compassion and social service approach in them. Then young and interested, enthusiastic young doctors can set up their infrastructure in northeastern region, and they can give services free of cost. Then doctors also should build a setup for the treatment of only manual scavengers. Then if you look at hilly areas, forest dense areas, and northeastern side, doctors should build a setup. So people there have a good knowledge of medicinal plants and Ayurveda. So the doctors and locals should work together and collaborate, and this can lead to the employment also. So this is what we can say, that it is a rebuilding trust between doctors and patients. And last one, I think, which is very important in policy innovation and creativity, is that regional disparities in terms of resources and institutional capabilities must be addressed. So this diversity, nevertheless, can be a powerful source of policy innovation and creativity. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chandrika. And I would really like to thank all of our speakers because like we were really short on time. But we are somehow managed to save 10 minutes. So maybe if somebody would like to add in something extra for 10 minutes, we have like 10 minutes now in hand. So just feel free to add in like what you liked from the economic survey, what was some data point that really caught your attention, and what was something that you were not aware about beforehand before reading the economic survey. So maybe you could just quickly highlight those issues, those points that you find were interesting and worth mentioning.
Hello everyone.
Yes.
So it's Archana this side. So I read on Skill India Mission.
Just a moment. Archana, could you please switch on your camera? So yeah,
Sure,
that would be really nice.
yeah.
And it is requested to other members also to please switch on their cameras. I mean, very few people have switched on their cameras.
Okay. So
I think Archana is facing some network issue.
audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Please go ahead.
Okay, cool. So I read on Skill India Mission and started with like how 20 central ministries and departments are like working on it, and we have like long-term and short-term goals which require like recognition of prior learning as well as short-term goals. So at each level there have been like set up district centers have been set up, and the progress has been like from financial year 2017 to financial year 2023. It's like it was under PM Kaushal Yojana 2.0, and the progress was that 1 crore people have been trained, out of which 83% have been certified and 21 crore had been placed. And from financial year 21 to 23, 7.4 lakh have been trained and 66% certified. But the amazing thing and the second thing is that when we come to Jan Shikshan Sansthan scheme under it, 81% of like trainees are women, and special focus has been given on tribal areas and with 2.7% covering it. And at last, it was like National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme, which was undertaken in 2016. And it is for like catering financial support to different establishments, and 21.4% have been engaged industries by it. So it has like covered, it has been covered under the Apprenticeship Act 1961. So that's all I could figure out actually.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing in the important points with respect to the Skill India Mission, because we all of us know that how important is the skill-based education, forms the part of any individual's learning. And also in order for for us to move a large chunk of our workforce from the informal sector to the formal sector and, provide them with necessary skills, it's very important to meet the needs of the 21st century. So yeah, thank you so much, Archana. And moving forward, does anybody would like to add like something else, some interesting observation from the economic survey? Maybe just a point or just a sentence or whatever. Anybody else?
I found one data point quite interesting. Like in female labor force participation. Like earlier, I was used to think like labor force participation in India is like very low, around 20-30%. But when I was going through data points, they say that labor force participation in augmented section around 50%, which I don't agree with, because they keep account like female laborers in agriculture also, which are like underpaid or not paid, like work for the family. They keep that data set also in this labor force participation section female. I think this data could be like little bit not corrected. I will go with like International Labor Organization data, which like I feel is more authentic. That's like my observation.
Yeah. So there was this very interesting point that I read from the economic survey that wherein they talked about, 75% of our women are engaged in the agriculture sector. So, I mean, the economic survey talked about the need for upskilling these women, maybe moving them from just pure agriculture-based activities to allied activities, maybe to food processing, because like the service-based industry has much more earning capacity. So that way, female are upskilled and then they're able to earn earn more, because as we all know that due to migration, what happens is a large part of the male population, they migrate out of the villages or smaller towns to cities, and what remains is the women who are basically left to take care of the fields and family. And so that is why we are seeing the feminization of agriculture. But because women are engaged in pure agricultural activities, their revenues for earning are very minimal. So the economic survey talks about upskilling these women in basically food processing or other industries. So that is what I really picked up from economic survey. And maybe if anybody else has something else to add in. Somebody maybe just raise your hand or just speak on.
But like, I just want to add some point. I'm audible?
Yeah, you're audible, Pankaj. Yeah, please.
Hello.
Yes, Pankaj, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm audible. Hello.
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah, I'm saying that I just want to add, like, in COVID-19, we have seen that there is a decreasement in the rate of female participation rate. Like, although it had increased during 2015 to 2019, but during COVID-19, what happened? As per the report, we have also seen that there had been a decrease in the female participation rate. So I think what we can do is like, we are living in the 21st century where the rate should be increased. I mean to say that, but as per the report, it is decreasing it. So we really want to push, like, there should be the suggestion for the government that they should push this sector by giving them an incentive in order to enroll more and more women into the workforce rate. So yeah, so that was the thing which I just observed it. Other than that, like you talked about that regarding we are seeing that in the survey, in the budget, that entrepreneurship of the women, like I mean to say that I have observed in my area that there are a lot of government policies which are being used in our area. Like for instance, SHG, the self-help group, what they are doing it, they are inculcating the habit of entrepreneurship among the women, and women are earning a good amount of revenue from it. So actually, I'm belong from Uttarakhand, so I can see that, and like I'm seeing the observation that these women are getting a lot of funding from the government. Like for instance, there is a bank called Grameen Bank. It's a Grameen Bank. It's a rural kind of bank. So they provide a very low or a very meager interest rate to them, to these women, and they start their own businesses. So, and it is helping them as well. So what they do basically, I'll just give a brief about it because I have myself interacted with those SHG. So what they do basically, they just borrow the money from the bank, and after that they do the business, and whatever they created, like whatever the livelihood they created from the business, they sell it to the cooperatives. So, and the cooperatives, they further sell it to the market, and after that they give revenue to those SHGs. So I think the government initiative of SHG is really helping the rural women, and yeah, we'll see. We are seeing the entrepreneurship among the women, so it's quite good to see. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pankaj, for bringing in the self-help group point, because as we've all studied and we all know how important have these self-help groups become in the empowerment of women, because basically through self-help group, women are also able to earn and also able to help their families
Article
out.
24 of the Constitution of India.
There's some disturbance. Not very sure. Yeah, I think, yeah, that is sorted. So yes, I mean, we've all, I think Anushka, there's some, just a moment.
That's what the Constitution said in 1950. And to implement this fundamental.
Yes, I think we are sorted. So yeah, I mean, of course, I was saying self-help groups have become very important. So yeah, I mean, thank you everybody for participating. And I mean, that was a really nice and fruitful discussion that we had for like half an hour. So maybe sometimes else, maybe, next week we can plan on having a full-fledged discussion. So yeah, thank you.